The God of the Whole. Deep in the woods of Pennsylvania, there exists a town forgotten by time. Here, the shadows stretch further than natural, and the wind carries whispers of warning that few dare to hear. In this cursed place, disappearances are part of the routine. They are not news, they are a condemnation. And at the heart of this mystery lies a hole, an abyss that defies all reason and whose existence should never have been disturbed. It all began when, without warning, women of all ages began to disappear. There were no signs of struggle or signs of escape. Only belongings were left abandoned in the forest, as if they had been ripped from this world in an instant. The first to disappear was Laura, a young woman with dark hair and a luminous smile. However, no trace of her was ever found, only her torn and mud-stained jacket lying near the edge of the forest. Soon after, Martha, the blacksmith's wife, and Sarah, the village schoolteacher, disappeared. One after another, the women were dragged into the darkness without a trace. The spreading fear. The villagers lived in a state of dread. Some whispered that it was a serial killer, while others whispered of an older, more evil force. No one could understand why only women were victims, or why the forest seemed to come alive, breathing and watching silently. In the midst of the chaos, Dale arrived, a man haunted by his own past. He sought refuge in that forgotten corner, a place where he could escape his demons and start anew. However, the forest did not allow him to forget. At night, Dale heard distant laughter, footsteps rustling in the trees, and a haunting melody that seemed to call out to him. His friend Tucker, an experienced hunter accustomed to confronting bears and wolves, had also perceived these strange sounds. Determined to discover the truth, they both went into the forest, armed with flashlights and rifles, in search of answers. What they found in the depths of the forest surpassed any nightmare. Before them emerged a creature that defied all logic, a humanoid figure with twisted horns, goat-like legs, and eyes that glowed with an unnatural light. The creature's presence radiated a primal and dangerous energy, as if it were the very embodiment of the forest. Dale and Tucker managed to escape, but the creature's mark would haunt them. From that day on, both felt an incessant gaze, as if the darkness of the forest was watching them, even in the apparent safety of their homes. Determined to understand the origin of that nightmare, the two men began to investigate. They consulted the village elders and looked through forgotten books until they discovered an ancient legend. The legend told of the existence of a lesser god, an ancient entity that once ruled the forests. This being, known as the God of the Whole, demanded sacrifices to protect the land. The missing women were not random victims. They were part of a ritual to restore the power of this force. Something had awakened the God of the Whole, upsetting the balance and allowing him to reclaim what he believed to be his. With the newly acquired knowledge, Dale, Tucker, and a small group of braves prepared to confront the creature. They understood that brute force would not be enough, and so they sought to use the very nature of the creature against it. A village elder told them of an ancient talisman, a relic capable of weakening the whole god. The dangerous search for the talisman led them through places full of traps and dangers until they finally managed to find it. With the talisman in their hands, they returned to the forest determined to put an end to the threat. The battle that followed was chaotic and intense. The God of the Whole unleashed his powers, plunging the combatants into visions of their worst fears. However, the determination and power of the talisman gradually weakened him. At the climax of the confrontation, Dale realized that in order to eradicate the creature for good, a sacrifice was necessary. In an act of redemption, and to atone for the demons of his past, Dale volunteered. With the talisman, he channeled his own energy and drew the God of the Whole, dragging it into an abyss that opened up in the earth. A piercing scream echoed throughout the forest as darkness consumed the creature. With the Whole, God defeated, the missing women were freed, though their memory of the event faded into oblivion. Tucker and the survivors tried to rebuild their lives, aware that the forest had changed forever. The town was never the same. On nights when the moon is full, some say they still hear laughter and haunting melodies, as if something is patiently awaiting its next awakening. And deep in the forest, the pit remains, dark and silent, reminding everyone that there are forces in this world that should never be awakened. Don't forget to subscribe and comment which is the scariest legend of your city.